You are listening to Bedtime Dreamy Tales. Please make sure you have smashed that like button and subscribe to our channel for new story. Story title, The Grave-Mound. Once in the fertile heart of the countryside lived a rich farmer, a man of great wealth and little charity. One bright morning, he stood in his courtyard, surveying his lush fields of wheat and heavy-laden fruit trees. The previous year's harvest still lay stored in his loft, pressing heavily upon the old beams. Venturing further, he inspected his stables where his robust oxen, plump dairy cows, and a sleek, well-groomed stallion resided. Lastly, he returned indoors, his gaze falling upon an iron chest brimming with gold. As he stood calculating his wealth, a knock not on his door but on the door of his conscience startled him. It opened, and a voice whispered, "Have you ever done good for your family? Have you considered the plight of the poor? Have you shared your food with those who hunger? Are you truly content, or do you crave even more?" His heart, unyielding, responded with defiance. "I am hard-hearted and cold, never showing kindness to my family, ignoring beggars at my door. I do not believe in God, only in gaining more wealth. Even if I own all under heaven, it will not suffice." Startled by his own thoughts, the farmer's legs trembled, and he had to sit down. Just then, another knock came, this time physical, at his chamber door. Standing there was his neighbor, a poor man with many children, struggling even to feed them. "I know my neighbor is wealthy and also heartless. He won't help me, but my children cry for food, and I must take a chance," the poor farmer muttered to himself. Approaching the rich farmer, he pleaded, "Please, seeing my children starving as if drowned in deep waters, lend me just 4 measures of grain." Moved slightly by the sight, the rich farmer's icy greed began to melt. "I won't lend you 4 measures, he smirked, "but I will give you 8, provided you agree to one condition." "What must I do?" the desperate farmer asked. "If I die, you must guard my grave for 3 nights, the rich farmer demanded. Confused but desperate, the poor farmer agreed and took the grain home. Days later, as if by some premonition, the rich farmer collapsed and died, his passing unmourned. At his funeral, the poor farmer remembered his promise, though initially pleased to think he could now escape his vow. Yet, he reasoned, he was kind to me once, and that kindness fed my children. Besides, a promise made is a promise to be kept. As dusk fell, he entered the graveyard to begin his vigil by the rich man's grave. The night was silent, save for the mournful hooting of an owl and the soft moonlight bathing the fresh mound. The first 2 nights passed uneventfully. On the 3rd night, however, the poor farmer felt uneasy, sensing an impending occurrence. He stepped outside the cemetery walls and saw a figure he had never seen before, a grizzled old soldier with a scarred face and piercing eyes, clad in a tattered overcoat and large boots. "What are you looking for?" the farmer inquired. "Nothing frightens me," replied the soldier. "I've faced much in my time, much like the young man who learned to shudder and won treasures and a princess. Me, I've remained poor. Tonight, I intend to stay here, nowhere else to go. If you're not afraid, then join me in guarding this grave," the farmer suggested. "It's the soldier's duty to stand guard," the soldier agreed, sitting beside him. As the night deepened, a sharp howling ripped through the air, and they saw the devil himself standing before them. "Move aside, you rogues," the devil shouted. "The soul in this grave belongs to me. Leave, or I'll break your necks." "The devil isn't my commander," the soldier retorted boldly. "We shall sit here still." Thinking quickly, the devil changed his approach, offering a bag of gold coins if they would leave. The soldier, cunningly, asked for his boot to be filled with gold instead. When the devil agreed, the soldier slyly cut the bottom of his boot and placed it over a hole, making it impossible to fill. The devil, deceived, fetched more and more gold, but the boot remained unfilled. As dawn approached and his fury peaked, he attempted to snatch the boot away. But just then, the first rays of sunrise touched him, and he vanished in agony, leaving the grave and his soul untouched. The farmer and the soldier decided to split the gold. The soldier, however, had another idea. "Give my share to the poor. I will move into your small cottage, and we will live out our days in peace until God calls us home." So they did, the soldier and the farmer living quietly, sharing their unexpected wealth with those in need, their nights no longer haunted but filled with the peace of men who had stood against darkness and prevailed. If you like the story, please give this video a like. For more stories, go to bedtimedreamytales.com. See you in the next story.